Time for the International Press Review with Florence VILLEMINOT, who joined us on set. Hi, Florence. French papers continue to react to François Hollande's government. Excuse me, not the International Press Review, the French Press Review.
French Press Review this time.
French papers continue to react to François Hollande's government under a lot of pressure these days.
That's right. Le Figaro says that Hollande and his ministers have been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons in recent days. And in fact, they talk about a série noire, so a series of catastrophes. And inside, Le Figaro says that there's going to be no spring for François Hollande. His first day of spring. Happy spring, Cyril. Now, the most recent bump in the road is, of course, Jérôme Cahuzac, the budget minister who resigned. This has sent a shockwave through the Socialist Party. According to Le Figaro, Hollande has been trying to play down this incident. Le Figaro points out that he was very cool and impassioned at the cabinet meeting yesterday. He wants to make sure that this doesn't become a soap opera. But Le Figaro says that the government has come out quite weakened by this whole episode, weakened and depressed. In another article in Le Figaro, it talks about the government blues. It says that a lot of ministers are actually really quite depressed about the fact that Jérôme Cahuzac resigned because Cahuzac was seen as being a very strong and charismatic person.
Right,
and
he was a central part of the government.
He was central to the government, especially because as budget minister, he was the central pillar in Hollande's economic plan. He was seen as the bad cop, the guy who did everything that nobody else wanted to do, like talk about cutting spending and austerity, etc. So ministers reportedly really stood behind him until the last minute and feel like Hollande was somewhat a little bit cold and too fast to get rid of him. And according to this article, many of the ministers are actually a little bit disillusioned by the government right now and miss the good old days of a former Prime Minister, Lionel Jospin.
Let's look at another story making headlines in the French press. Reports that a French hostage was killed in northern Mali.
That's right. And Le Figaro has a profile of this man who was taken a hostage. Now, they say that he was more of an unlucky adventurer and an Indiana Jones-style businessman rather than a secret agent, though it's unclear.
Those rumors had been floated when he was kidnapped.
That's right. It is unclear, though, exactly what he was doing in Mali when he was kidnapped. Officially, he was there as a geologist. It points out also that he had already been taken hostage before in 1991, so a lot of bad luck for him, and he'd been saved by French special agents. Libération takes a look at a government strategy when faced with a hostage crisis and points out that it's usually the same old tune. Officially, we do not negotiate with hostage takers, even though maybe behind the scenes there are some negotiations that take place. And in fact, Libération says that for a long time, France was known for paying very well, which perhaps could explain why France has this sad record of the most citizens that are taken hostage. And also what's particular about France...
But it's now believed that France has decided to stop paying ransoms.
Well, this is what Libération points out. It compares Nicolas Sarkozy, who was seen as being very impassioned and emotional and compassionate in the media, to François Hollande, who's seen as being a lot colder and quiet about the whole thing. And according to Libération, this is proof that there is, as you're saying, this shift in doctrine. Now the French government has said, we're really not going to pay hostage takers anymore.
It's true. Nicolas Sarkozy is reported to have said previously that when a man's life is at stake, he doesn't negotiate and he doesn't care about policy. French papers are also reacting to the U.S. President Barack Obama's visit to Israel.
That's right. Libération talks about Israel and the Obama enigma, and it points out that relations between the U.S. and Israel has been somewhat awkward. And in fact, it has some statistics that points out that only 36% of Israelis feel like Barack Obama is friendly to their country. And Atlantico points out that even though officially the U.S. and Israel are BFFs, best friends forever, it turns out that Obama and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Atlantico says they hate each other. Now this, according to Atlantico, has to do with profound political differences, but also some diplomatic hiccups.
All right, Florence, that's all we have for the French Press Review. You'll be on later on in the show. Thank you very much. Do stay tuned to France 24.